So, hello, everybody. Welcome back to Wealth Wednesdays with Walter. Walter has been missing in action. He has been all over Spain and France and God knows where else. But he is back sitting down. I know he has been running around all day because that's what he does, trying to make money and stuff. Not trying, but making money. So that's also an awesome thing. So this is the Demetra Show, where we promote Black love, knowledge, and understanding of all things that go on in the Black community to make us an even better people, with the emphasis on even, because we are a great people, but we can always strive to do better, which is why I use the word even. So on Wealth Wednesdays with Walter, we like to talk about things relating to money, how to keep it, how to make it, and everything in between. I should say that Walter is a financial expert, a financial guru. He may, push back on that title, but I call him a guru because he has worked with a whole host of people, celebrities, entertainers, everyday people like me, and everybody else in between. So he does have the experience, almost 30 years working in the financial services industry. So it is a pleasure, I would say, and a blessing that we have him here with us to impart his financial wisdom with us. And Sweetie Man, how you doing? And I always say, Sootie Man, you're going to have to tell me how to say that right, because I want to keep jacking it up. But anyway, how you doing? And so I'd like to say welcome to YouTube and Facebook, the other side of the conversation. You all are not just viewers, you are participants, because this is probably one of the only shows that we read your comments, questions, and concerns. And if it's a pretty good day, we can get to them all. But we will definitely get to everybody. So today we are going to be talking about that of Hurricane Ian. It is, ongoing there in Florida and, some surrounding areas as well. So we are going to get into that. And as we know, as they say, when America catches a cold or a hurricane, Black people, we get the whole damn tsunami. So we're going to talk about how to financially survive something catastrophic. And so, Walter, before I get into all of that, and Brother Jonelle, how you doing? I love that little poem you did on Facebook. That was amazing. So, Walter, what say you before we get into it?
No, I'm just trying to get back in the zone, being in the country. It's cool to see things from different countries and the way of lives. And this hurricane, I understand we're talking about that, so I look forward to dropping some tips to avoid the next one or be prepared for the next one.
Absolutely. And so it's my pleasure, Brother Jonelle. So anyway, if y'all could please like, share, subscribe if you haven't already. I would love and appreciate you. We also have ways to donate to the channel: Cash App, Venmo, PayPal. Become a member. I would love to have you here. All right. So as you guys may or may not know, there is a big giant hurricane taking place in Florida and around Florida, I guess you could say. My sister is there in Jacksonville, so she is kind of in the thick of it, kind of, sort of. I don't think it's terribly affected her in Jacksonville just yet. But it's Hurricane Ian. It is known to be the 5th strongest hurricane in U.S. history, with a wind speed of 150 miles per hour. The strongest one to date was that in 1938 they call it the Labor Day hurricane, where it was 185 miles per hour. Now, the path that this particular hurricane is taking is that of Tallahassee, Tampa, Miami, Orlando, and Jacksonville. It is considered to be a catastrophic storm surge, a hurricane in a lot of other places. In some places, it's a storm surge. Right now, 1 million Floridians are out of power, meaning they have no electricity. Governor Ron DeSantis says that they have about 4,000 or so people on standby to get the power up and running when it is safe. In a minute, I'm going to show y'all a video of, what is going on. And so they said, too, that 20 immigrants, seems that they were coming from Cuba, have been lost at sea. They found 4 of them that were able to swim to land, and they basically tell what happened. Of course, you guys know there's a lot of movement from other countries of people trying to come over here. And I guess a hurricane doesn't stop that. It should. So there's been a lot of closures there in Florida: stores, schools, just everything you can think of. My sister, who is a teacher in Jacksonville, they did not go to school today for the rest of the week because they are anticipating the landfall of the hurricane. Of course, with that, there are floods and, a whole host of things. And in fact, it is said, and I can't remember where it is exactly, but there were people calling in distress. And let me see, I want to pull it up because I want to be right. But they're calling in distress, basically saying, and let me see, I read exactly what they're saying and what the officials are saying. So it is said that it says people are trapped by water in their homes. Florida's Collier County Sheriff Office said in a Facebook post Wednesday, here's some tough news you need to know. We aren't holding back. We are in call triage mode. We are setting a significant number of calls of people trapped. Getting a significant number of calls of people trapped by water in their homes. Some are reporting life-threatening medical emergencies in deep water. We will get to them first. Some are reporting water coming into their houses, but not life-threatening. They will have to wait possibly until the water recedes. Okay, so that's just one situation, again, in Collier County. Now, of course, we know one of the deadliest hurricanes on record is that of Hurricane Katrina that took place in 2005, where nearly 2,000 people lost their life due to drowning, injury, and trauma sustained from stuff maybe falling on them. Of course, people had health issues and they died. As you know, it took the United States government about 5 days or so to say, oh, there's a hurricane. They even likened, the people there in Louisiana, Florida, and Mississippi to refugees. And that was under the Bush administration, Bush Jr., where in Louisiana, they said anywhere between 980 to 1,580 people died. Florida was 14, Mississippi 208. Over 1 million people from Louisiana were displaced, where they could not go back home. So you saw a lot of people going to like Texas and other places, but mostly Texas, I would say. A lot of those people were not able to go back. Now, a lot of reasons people can't go back is due to finances. And the reason a lot of people cannot leave is due to, guess what? Finances. We see on the news a lot of people say, oh, I can't leave. I can't afford to leave. But before we get into some strategies on how not to get caught up in a catastrophic situation that would be the difference because of finances, I'm going to show y'all a video. But who else came on here? Miss Nancy, how you doing? Nicole, Michael X, what's going on with you? And Yikwabwa, I hope I said that right. How you doing? He says it is Florida, flooded here in Florida. The children are playing in the water now. Wow. Okay. Well, hopefully it's not too bad that they're playing in the water. And Nancy says, I hope it takes DeSantis and Trump out, take out the racists in Florida. Okay. And as Sudi Man, you say, right, the city to call citizens of this country refugees is crazy. And Yaquaba, you say the food done been raised so high. Here, $50 don't buy but 5 packets of chicken. Yes, indeed. So y'all check this video out really quick. Hey, Don Sunlight.
Mr. Mayor, thanks for being with us. Do you have any sense for whether, we're seeing these pictures of people just to your south that look like cars are underwater. What's happening in Fort Myers?
So far on the barrier islands and the beach, we're seeing the same type of flooding. I am here in downtown Fort Myers, about 2 blocks away from the Caloosahatchee River. So far, there's no flooding. A lot of heavy winds. Can see some debris flying. The rain has not been very heavy, but the winds have been very strong. We are concerned that when this does push upriver, that we will see that storm surge and possibly the flooding.
So, Mr. Mayor, based on that concern, what have you been able to do to be prepared for that if it does, in fact, come to bear?
There's really nothing you can do to prepare for it other than your recovery, your response and recovery. We have our emergency management teams on standby, ready to hit the streets as soon as it's safe.
We're looking at shots. I don't know if you can see it, Mr. Mayor, but we're looking at an overhead shot of Fort Myers that is shaking in the wind. It looks incredibly windy there right now. And you say barrier islands, you have heard reports of flooding. Would that be Captiva? What are we talking about?
Pine Island, Captiva, Sanibel.
So, and Sunlight, I believe you're in Florida. What's going on there in Florida, if you don't mind me asking? So as you heard him say there, that there's nothing you can do to prepare, right? Because I guess if a hurricane or a natural disaster or something like that is going to hit, it's not like you can say, hey, stop, Don't come here, go away, or whatever. It's going to do what it's going to do, right? And so he said there's nothing you can do to prepare. So they, where he's at, are, you know, preparing to rescue and recover and things like that once the hurricane subsides, the storm surge and all of that. But then I got to thinking, and that actually clip was from maybe an hour and a half ago at this point from when I saw it. But I'm like, but are there things that we could do to prepare before that's coming? Because I think we've been hearing about this hurricane for what, a couple of weeks now, that it was impending. And so what do you do when you hear that a hurricane is going to hit? And most people who live in that area, the Florida Peninsula, and, you know, in that area, I guess you're kind of used to that, especially this time of year. But what do you do to actually prepare, like, you know, to leave? I don't know how much plane tickets are, but I know typically they are pretty expensive when you're trying to get out of, you know, a natural disaster, especially if you're trying to do it on the fly. So there are things that we need to consider. And Jonelle, you say the flooding brings out all types of creatures, snakes and crocodiles. Yes. So you're in that water. You ain't in that water by yourself, you know. And he says everything goes up, but income is so many homeless people, but billions aren't sent across sea. Sunlight says there is no water in the stores, right? So you're talking about drinking waters. That's one thing too. And they said a lot of Targets and Walmarts are actually closing. Raz Cash, how you doing? It says Southeast Florida, just fine, little rain. Okay. And I hope I said that right. Yikwaba. Our lights are on. And Sunlight says, I'm in Northwest Florida. Okay. These days, no one evacuates anymore. I think you meant. Okay. So Walter, what say you?
Jeez, I don't even know where to begin. I heard about this when I was in Europe. I heard a little bit about the storm. They've been warning about the storm for a long time. You know, it comes down to the same old thing. You know, right now people are scrambling for water, scrambling to hide. I guess people, you know, water is so powerful. You know, until you've been in this, you know, been like, I don't know if you know, if you guys swim, or like water is extremely powerful. So when that water starts moving, like people think they're gonna camp out in their house and hide out. I mean, like I can't think of a force that's stronger than water. And so it's mind blowing to me that people say that they're gonna stick it out and wait. I mean, there's nothing that you can't replace I mean, I know there's things you know, what am I trying to say? There's, you know, you can replace those material things, right? If you're dead, it don't matter what you say. You're gonna be dead anyways. So it's always good to be prepared. And we keep saying these same things over and over and over. You know, like water, you know, they sell water when it's not hurricane season. You're trying to buy water right now, forget it. You know, the crazy part is the last few days I've been seeing people going into the stores buying water. No fights. It was all calm. Just going in there calmly, people buying water. And now it's like people, oh shit, water. It's like, man, it's been on the news for days. I don't even live in Florida and I know what the hell is going on. But same old thing. People, you know, they waited. And then this hurricane is going to do some mad damage. You already see cars are underwater, people stuck in their house. I can't imagine being in your house and it being flooded. I mean, but, you know, we get warnings that this stuff is coming. And at what point do you say enough is enough? You know, I always, you know, I ain't gonna give out my address, but, you know, I keep months of water in my garage just in case. You never know. Well, the cool thing about you guys on the East Coast is you do know when stuff is coming. Florida, you know, Texas, you guys, you know when the stuff is coming. In California, it just, boom, boom, shit starts shaking. It can start shaking right now. We would have no warning. But I'm gonna read this comment. What's up, Sunlight? People do have the finances to evacuate. The problem is, and I understand what you're saying, some people don't have the money, but we live in the greatest, regardless of how you feel about the racism and all the shit that's going on, we live in the greatest country on the planet as far as rights and opportunity. Like right now, like 20 people coming from Cuba on a boat, and no one, I mean, I don't care how smooth the sea is. Would you get yourself in a boat and just cruise? Like get in a boat and cruise the ocean, there's some ships I wouldn't get in the ocean in. So the opportunity here is so huge that people, and those people, most of those people on those boats, let's just face it, they're dead, period. So their immigration problems are over. The four that make it, that do get here, they'll probably get some big media campaign because they're on the news, and they'll probably come over here and start all kinds of stuff. The point I'm making is we live in the greatest place to have money. And you, at the end of the day, you should have money. That's all there is to it. People keep saying, oh, the hurricane, we don't have money. They can have money. And there's just nothing else to do about it. You have to be prepared. And I know right now it's a big deal. Oh, shit, what do we do? But about 6 weeks ago, a month ago, we've been hearing about financial literacy for months, years, forever. And here it is, when we get to these things, it's like, oh, shit, we are not prepared. And we should be. I mean, like, even this show, we talking about buying food, water, stacking your money, stacking your food. So if you're in Florida and you're stuck, hopefully you survive. But next time, just some of those things that you buy, say no to. That's it. There's nothing like being stuck in the house filling with water and your family's in there. And you telling me that you ain't got no money, but you have a job and you have shit in your closet that you don't need. There's just no excuse, except now it's going to cost you your life. And I think we have to talk like this to people, because this shit is exhausting. Every time a hurricane comes up, Black people, we the worst. I mean, at what point do we take pride in the race? That we get our shit together. I know there's some people that their circumstances are screwed up, but most of us ain't them. Most of us can get going. Period.
So, and I'm reading y'all comment, and hello to everybody that came on here. And I've seen everybody pretty much say the same thing as far as what we need. Obviously, money, food, travel, transportation, I guess, gas, and some other things. But I just think, like, a lot of times, and especially if you live in a place where it happens every year, you're like, oh my God, here we go again. Now, you may not get, affected by whatever's going on, but you may, right? And so I think the things that we need to think about is, okay, well, if I have to leave at a moment's notice, are we going to be able to do that? And sometimes it's not just one person. Maybe you have a whole family. Are you going to be able to, because a lot of times in those situations, you can't drive, right? So a lot of times, and we know, I've never been in that situation, but we've heard about people saying, I just can't afford to leave. I'm going to ride it out. I'm going to pray that it doesn't happen. If it does, and Michael, like you said too, here, and put this up, people say it's too expensive to leave, but it's like, how do you prepare for that? Do you save money? Do you, say, okay, we're going to sock this account once the hurricane season is over. We're going to save this money until next hurricane season. We're going to put it aside. We ain't going to touch it. We're not going to do nothing with this money until next hurricane season, because God forbid we have to hop on a plane, get a ticket. I've heard people having to spend like $1,000 per ticket, in some cases, just one way to get somewhere. The other places, where am I going to be able to go on maybe a 2-3 days notice? Hey, the hurricane seems like it's going to hit. Do I have family I could go live with? Can I make a reservation somewhere in another state or a city, whatever, is not going to be affected by this? Do I have the money? Even if that's a credit card, I don't know. But there's ways that we can save to do that. I know if I was living in a spot like that, I would do what I need. And I don't want to come off from like, well, you people, you should be, because I don't want it to make it seem like that. But I'm just saying, especially when we think about something like Hurricane Katrina that disproportionately affected our people. Of course, you guys know the levees broke, so they say they're in that situation. But it was a lot of our people who filled the Superdome, the Astrodomes, and all these other places, and we were sorely affected by it. People floating their refrigerators in the water, and just on their rooftops for days. And many of them just said we couldn't afford to leave. We're going to stay and weather the storm. So we need to come up with ways that we can be least affected by that. And I made a list so we can talk about this money. So Walter, how do we go about amassing money to leave? Like, how do we calculate what we may need, and what do we do to save it?
First of all, you should be saving everything possible. Like after Katrina and Harvey, there's no way in hell. First of all, I don't even know if I would be in those places. Number one, because the hurricane. Like, think about this. You guys in those areas have hurricane season. Imagine this. I live in a neighborhood, and every year somebody come by and slap the shit out of everybody on the street. We have slap the shit out of you season. Every year somebody coming to slap the shit out of you. At what point do you decide to move? I mean, if you can't afford to leave when the shit gets hot, then move, period. I know for a fact that a few days ago, 3-4 days ago, the freeways were not packed with people trying to leave. The stores were not being raided. It was calm. People were screwing in their boards and at Home Depot with the music in the background, la, 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 la. It's like, damn, you know the storm is coming, but you don't do anything about it. And the excuse that we don't have money is dead, along with the people that are going to die in this hurricane. So the thing that you do, first of all, and I was listening to, oh my God, this amazing speaker, one of the bank heads was saying, first thing to do in financial planning is to cut expenses, either make more money or cut expenses. So for a lot of us, it needs to cut expenses. What do you need to get rid of? What right now did you buy last month that you don't need? I do it all the time. I'll tell you, sometimes I'll buy some shit and I'll go, I don't need that. And I'll keep it. I'll buy something and I'll keep it and I'll stare at it for a few days. If I don't need it, I'll send it back. I'm the return king. Trust me. So there's things that we don't need. Now, if you're making money and you're stacking money, it's a different story. But if you were in a position where a hurricane shows up and you can't afford to leave, but you got Lucci, Lord, I didn't combine the two. You got Louis and Gucci in your closet, but you can't afford to leave in the hurricane. That's insanity. We have to start every dollar you make, just start by putting 10 cents away. Seriously. If you can't save 10% of your income, then cut some shit out. Or get you a roommate, get you a man, get you a woman. There's nothing wrong with that. Some of y'all, man, people, I don't need a man. Yes, you do. I need a woman to help me with some of this shit up in this house. Like, that is financial advice. When I was doing financial planning, I would tell people, find a spouse. What do the Asians do? Think about this for a second. What do you think an arranged marriage is? One of my favorite shows is Remarriage and Desire. It's a Korean show that was on Netflix. Give me a black diamond. That is a show, and a lot of these shows and people, cultures, they base their marriage on common sense, on cash. So do whatever it takes to be secure. Like, seriously, there's no way. Black people, we have to rise above it. I'm tired of this shit. Every time a hurricane comes up, black people, we the worst. What'd you say, D? America gets sick, catch a cold, we get pneumonia. But we have, and I'm just going to go on record, I'm going to say this. We have the same financial rights right now as whites, Puerto Ricans, Asians, Haitians, whatever. We all have the same financial rights. I don't care what you say. We have the same rights. Jamie Dimon, D's old boss from Chase, said it the best. We live in the best country in the world. We have 2 C's, which means on each side of us, so we don't have enemies next to us. We have transparency with most of our businesses. We have water, utilities, food. May not be the greatest, but we have it. We have rights. You can let your hair down and don't get kidnapped and killed in a jail cell somewhere in Iran or some crazy shit. We have the best situation here. Coming from a black man who was broke as shit, and not too long ago, I'm not talking decades ago, I'm talking like in the last 15, 20 years, was broke as shit. Where people would consider me a wreck to rebuild and do what I'm doing currently. And it was all just hard work. When my boys come over and say, yo, let's go grab a drink, I'm like, no, Negro, I've got shit to do. I can't do that tonight. I can't be out with you drinking every night. Or we going to happy hour, check out some hoes. Miss me with that. Like, those things, like my boys will tell you, I rarely see my friends. Like, we'll talk on the phone, but as far as backyard boogie, we're getting together and we're just going to waste $400 tonight. No, we're not doing that. So that's the type of stuff we need. We need to start cutting our expenses. And you need to start telling people no. Can I have a no? Can I no? Can I use it? No. Hell no. You can't. No. Start telling people no. Because those are the wealthiest people. I start telling people no all the time. Nope. And if I say yes and you mess up, I turn it into a no. And that's what we need to do. Some of us carry so much responsibility from other people that aren't doing the work. I've lost so many friends that will call me and say, "Hey, Walter, can I get $1,000?" I'm like, "What time did you wake up, my man?" "Oh, I woke up at 7. Click. So I woke my ass up at 5. Period. And I don't have zero tolerance for people that don't save their money. Period. There's no excuse. If you make 50 cents, you can put 5 cents away. There's no excuse. And I don't care how many bills you have. No such thing. I slept on my sister's, this woman on my left, right, I don't know which side she on to you and me. I slept on her couch, me and my woman, and 3 of my kids lived in her house. Period. So don't tell me about saving and none of that. You can't do it because you can. We started out by saving a little bit. Oh, here's $1 here. You know what I started doing? Is I got me one of those big piggy banks, and every time I spent money, I put the change in there. And then I would crack it open, and it would be $200 in there. And I started doing that. And then I started putting money away, hiding money in the house and just start stacking it. And before you know it, I was like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna save $20 here. And then it just turned into this vicious habit. Now all I think about is saving money. Because I never want to have to look my kids in the face and say, you know what, I'm sorry. I'm a punk bitch when it comes to my money. And I can't do shit for you guys. There's a zero tolerance. Black people, we have dealt with too much stuff. Racism, slavery, the crews from Africa, all the shit the Democrats and whatever you guys, all the shit we've had to deal with as Black people, we still survived. You telling me we can't save 10% of our shit? Come on, man. What would our forefathers, the freedom fighters, what would Sojourner Truth think about our condition today? Seriously. Based on, man, and I hate it. You know what I hate the most? I'm gonna switch gears here real quick and I'm gonna come back. You know what I hate? White parties. You know what I'm talking about? But Black people get dressed up in white. You ever see those? That just popped in my mind for some reason. I always get invited to these white parties. Like, Negro, you gonna get all dressed in white? You ain't got no money. Half of y'all shit is so raggedy, but you all dressed in white. You spend $400 on this. It's crazy to me. And it's so easy to build wealth. I'm gonna tell you guys. So next time the hurricane comes around, you can swipe your credit card if you ain't got no money, and you can roll out. I guarantee you right now, my sister could hit one of her credit cards and hop on a flight, assuming she had time. The Greyhound bus, Trailways, whatever runs, and you can hitch a ride. Hey, man, I got 500 on it. Can I roll with you? Absolutely. Matter of fact, that would be a good business. When the hurricane come next time, offer to take people out of here. You come back and keep getting them. There's so many ways to make money. And good question, Sunlight. Do not fall back on your family. You understand to fall back means, like, just think about this for a second. If you fall back, somebody has to catch you. Why don't, and I'm talking to all of us, why don't we be the person, the person that somebody can fall back on? Put yourself in a position not to need them. I'm telling you, do not, because think about this as a family member. How shitty is it to get a call from another family member that they need money? And you see their lifestyle. You see them on social media. Champagne, chang, chang. And then 6 months later, they asking you for money. That ain't cool. Like, do not put yourself in a position to lean on people. Ever. You have to be sick with this. You have to be a jerk when it comes to your protection, your money. Like last night, my son, Evan, he was here, me and him, we went to dinner, me and 2 of my sons, and lunch, and he was here last night. I was breaking his ass down. Like, man, you cannot afford not to have your shit together. Period. And money doesn't care about your color. Not anymore. We don't have redlining. And if you're in a state where they do redlining, just move. Come on, man. Seriously. If you're out there in the honky or whatever you want to call it is redlining you and just move. We had a show on here about sundown towns. One of my favorite shows. It's like you don't go there. If you're in a situation, because I hear people say black people don't have rights financially, which is absolutely hogwash. We do. At 100%. We do. I don't care what state you're in, you have rights. If you live in Mississippi and you make $15 an hour, take $1.50 and put it somewhere. Do that for 6 months. Number one. Two, we always talk about this, and this takes very little money. Build your credit. And I don't know what we have to do to get the point across. Like, I got a credit card in the mail by mistake. Destiny Visa. That's such a shitty card. They want $75 to start. It's a $300 limit, but they will give a card to anybody. I was clicking around one day for credit and got one in the mail. I just called them as I cancel it. But you could do that with that Destiny shitty card, First Premier, Credit One, self-finance, which turns into lead bank. So now you have lead bank. You pay yourself every month, $25 to $150 a month. Lead bank goes on your credit, and then when you get a big enough money saved, they convert it to a Visa card, and now you got 2 accounts. And you get the shitty Destiny card, you got 3 accounts. Boom, your credit is moving. Period. That's it. You can go to your credit union and say, hey, I'm going to give you $5,000, or I'm going to give you $200. Can you give me a credit card against it? And now you got 4 accounts. You see what I'm saying? And you build your credit. I did fall back on my sister, and that was a shitty situation. And I was not prepared, and hallelujah, Jesus, it'll never happen again. I remember that shit like it was. Let me tell you the pain, that moment of having to, and you know what it was for me? I just remember letting go. Remember D had all that shit? The houses, the cars. I had the, and I remember calling them one by one and saying, kiss my ass, come get it. Come get it, come get it. My house, I sold my house. I gave up everything. I was like, but the difference is between falling back is me and my sister got our shit together. I wasn't living in her house for free. You understand what I'm saying? I wasn't just up in her, hey, nigga Bojangles watching TV. There's a difference between falling back on someone and falling back and helping someone get going. You understand what I'm saying? So, but I do appreciate the comment, because that was a rough time for me. And I vowed never, ever, 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 ever to be in a situation like that again. And my sister would tell you right now, I can stand up. I'm wearing the same jeans I've had on every day this week. Y'all see me in this shirt every week almost. The point I'm making is I don't really spend a lot of money on stuff that's not helping me build my wealth. Like, seriously. Man, like, and you know, that's a good comment.
And I was gonna address that. And Brother Sammy, how you doing? And who else came on here? Hey, Sims, if I didn't know how you doing. And Thunder. Somebody else came on here. Maida, I hope I said that right. How you doing? Yes, but I saw Minister Louis Farrakhan talk about what are you doing with God's time during Sister Ava's homegoing service. And I just thought that was so profound, because God has not put us here to waste time. He's actually put us here to be productive and to live our purpose. And you guys, I'm sorry if I freeze up every once in a while. It's this internet in Houston. But yes, that is a good question. And I think we all should ask ourselves that every day. What am I doing with God's time? What am I going to do today when I wake up? Am I going to waste it, or am I going to get productive and actually make my mark on this world? Sunlight, I knew somebody was going to catch that when Walter says move to a state that doesn't red line. And I thought about that too. I was like, well, where is that? Because, that's everywhere. So good catch.
Well, red line, I'm meaning like back in the days, they drew red lines based on the race and the people that live there, and the banks would not loan to you. That's what I mean. Those days are over. What's up, Age? Are there some areas that don't want you? Sure, absolutely. But like, do we keep using that as an excuse? Like, really, if I'm really sincere, do the CEOs and presidents of Wells Fargo really want me up in there? Maybe not. So what? I'm doing it anyways. Period. That's all there is to it. Us talking about the government is holding us back. Those days are over. Zero. There's not. If you are one of those people that believe that the government is holding you back, you are doomed. You might as well take your ass to Florida and jump in the ocean and go swim off with Trump and DeSantis or whoever she said needs to go off in the flood, because that is your future financially. You know what's happening right now? Uber and Lyft are laying off. Think about this for a second. Where I live, they just closed 2 of Uber offices near my house. Like the whole office. I got a message. My girl showed me a message. Oh, they shut down this office, and next month they're shutting down this office. So we are prepared to go there and shop for furniture. Is this insane? These companies, these are laying off. Apple announced today or yesterday that they are cutting production of the iPhone 14. Do you have any idea what that means for the country financially? Like, they are cutting production. When is the last time Apple cut production on a phone? Like, come on, you guys. Like, some of you people need to really wake up. That's Asia, by the way. The background, she walking around all slow like Michael Jackson. But so we are doomed if we don't make some different moves. I hear people say, "Oh, I can't do it. I can't." The government is out to get you, and the problem is we keep voting for the same government that's getting us.
Let me ask you this. And hey, Brother Damon, how you doing? And Sooty Man, you're absolutely right about being frugal. I thought I was frugal until I watched this movie, Getting Smart. I think, what is it called? Getting Smart with Money or something like that on Netflix. Oh my God. When I watched that movie, I really like tightened down, and I think I'm pretty frugal. But when I saw some of the advice they were giving, is Get Smart with Money on Netflix, I was like, wow, I have room for improvement. And so we have to think about ways, like Walter said, how are we wasting money? Some of us, and I say us, I don't have an Amazon habit, but I know that sometimes, because Amazon is so convenient, you see something on social media or whatever comes to your mind, oh, I'm gonna go on Amazon. Now, I don't do that a lot per se, but I like books, so I'll buy books. I won't really hold back on books, but other things I'm like, okay, no, I don't need that. You were doing without it fine until, that idea, whatever came in your head. So some people have an Amazon habit. You may be having, packages come every week. You have to ask yourself, do I need these packages showing up to my door every week unless I'm running a business or something like that? But let me ask you this, Walter. How much is that iPhone 14?
I have no idea. $1,200, 13, 14, 15. I have no idea.
Now, up until recently, iPhone wasn't cutting production, or Apple wasn't cutting production on, making products, because they announced that something is coming out. What do people do automatically? Well, I know I just got the last phone, but I'm going to go get the new phone, because they might add 1 or 2 different things that are different with the phone. But the fact that they're slowing down production on that very expensive phone is very telling, because even people who are broke will go and finance a phone. They'll pay, $100 extra, whatever it is, a month for the phone, but they'll go finance it. So even Apple is being hit. So I think people really don't understand what's going on here. Like, things are not moving in a positive direction. No matter what they tell us, we can see what's going on. And at this point, we should really stop making excuses and do what we need to do. Some of us, and I'll say us collectively, not all of us, we eat out a lot. That's a lot of money. I mean, if you guys have gone out to eat in the last couple of months, when the thing really jumped off, you've seen the prices at restaurants. Even if you go to fast food, that stuff has gone up. I go to the store, a couple times a week, and I'm like, golly, this bread was just $3 last week, because I shop at Sprouts, at Whole Foods. And now the bread is damn near $7 or $6. So we're seeing things go up. And so we really have to ask ourselves, how are we going to sustain what's to come? The housing market, it's, slowing down. People are starting to lose money in their homes because people aren't buying houses they can't afford to. California, what is it? The mid price for a home is damn near $1 million for a house?
Yeah.
Who can afford that? I know somebody who has a really good job. They're an engineer, but they're like, I can't afford to buy a house out here for what I'm approved for. I can't afford to buy a house. So What do we do, right? It's called, it's on Netflix, Getting Smart with Money. Now, I want to put this up for Brother Jonell. He put this up. Let's see here. It says, we must understand we are not in a time of comfort, but war. The Honorable Minister Farrakhan has warned us to stock up, get a survival kit, etc., prepare for natural disasters, have your car prepared, and more. Living in America as Black people, we shouldn't be so comfortable. And it's absolutely right. As y'all know, my brother and I were born into the Nation of Islam. My dad is big time FOI, has been since he was 19, and we've heard these messages all of our lives. Store your food and water. Get prepared. And so we have done that. We just do that just, by hearing it inculcated into us all our lives. But as you said, Black people are so comfortable, and we should not be. We should not be that bird. You guys know the baby bird. When it's a baby, what does the mom have to do? Has to drop a worm in his mouth. And we're that bird with our mouth open. And, we constantly have our mouth open waiting for the government or anybody else to drop us help. And we should not be in that situation all the time. Things happen, but we must get prepared. And as you said so beautifully, not be so comfortable. Sunlight says, no, they're not over, Walter. Redlining is the same as it was back then. So again, what state doesn't redline? That is true. They redline everywhere. CG, how are you doing? And Damon, he says $1,500 for an iPhone. Get the F out of here. Keeping up with the Joneses will put you in the poorhouse. Yeah, but people do. And A Sim just says, I cook my food. We cook our food here too. And Tawanda says, and how you doing, by the way, says, I still have Apple phone 10 plus. I think I have the 12. And that's a long story how I got it, because I'm like you. I like to rock my phone till the wheels fall off. And Shiloh, how you doing? Says, getting smart with money. Yes, says Demetra and Walter. Y'all rock and rule. Appreciate the tip. Yes, indeed. And it's our pleasure. And welcome to the chat. So, Walter, what do you got to say about that? Yes, getting smart with money is awesome. I'm telling y'all going to be like, damn. Okay, I thought I was frugal until I saw this. So they gave a whole lot of tips. I got the Amazon thing from that. Although, like I said, I don't do a lot of Amazon, but I do it enough. And I went into my bank account and I looked at the statement. I said, okay, well, how much money did I spend in Amazon last month? And I think it came up to like $75, which isn't a lot of money. But then I went to the Amazon, you can see your recent history. And I was like, okay, well, what did I order? Okay, I ordered more books than I did stuff. Now, the stuff that I ordered, did I need that stuff? And half of it, I was like, no. But some of it was like, yeah, I needed it. So it made me cognizant of not going to Amazon and just ordering stuff just because. And then I even thought about the books. I love books, but I had to put myself on what I call a book diet, because I'm in the habit of buying books before I finish the book that I'm reading. And so I said, okay, I'm going to put a pause button on me ordering books until I finish reading the book that I am currently reading. So that'll save me some, money in the short run. And what I'm trying to do is delay instant gratification. And just a clothing tip, me and my daughter in Houston, we found a thrift store. I'm going to get the name of it from her. I keep forgetting. We're going to go tomorrow, as a matter of fact. On Wednesdays, you get everything for 25 cents. And on Thursdays, they put out their new stuff where you can get it for $2.25. So I'm going to go. I'm actually looking for an army type style jacket. That's the only thing I'm looking for. If I don't find it, I won't get it. But as I said, too, in the past, I'm going to start buying coats to hand out to the unhoused, because it does get kind of cold here in Houston. And so what's up, Walter?
I mean, so you can cut back or you can make more money. I'll tell you guys something I learned, and I'm gonna swing to the other side of the pendulum. We're talking about spending, but I'm gonna tell you something I learned, and this is more for people that have a passport. One, first of all, if you don't have a passport, get one. They're still letting Black people do that, so get you a passport, and get the hell out of here. Go visit somewhere. Like the last 2 weeks, and we went to Spain and France, and I learned so many things about this planet. One, is much cheaper. But one thing I know from living in America and coming from the music industry is that they like to spend money on like Gucci, Louis, and all these crazy things. And so just to go shop and just to go, to go check some of these prices, I noticed that in Louis Vuitton, things are 20-30% cheaper in Paris. And they cut the tax. And the dollar to the euro, which is a whole nother conversation. The dollar is whooping the euro, the pound, the yuan, the yen is whooping their ass. So what that means is if you buy something from Europe or from Great Britain on the US dollar, the euro used to be 140 to the US dollar. It is now, the euros come all the way down to 96. What that means is what used to cost you $1.40 in Europe now only costs you 96 cents. Do you know how many people are capitalizing on this arbitrage, the spread in the currency? The point I'm making is there's so many things you could do to make money. A lot of you guys know people that like to buy Louis and all these crazy things, and you know who they are. So, I'm going to go buy it for you. I'm going to go buy it for you. And here it is. There's so many things you could do like that. We still have to stay creative. Like if you're going to travel, then do something, make some money while you're doing it. Right? I know it drives my girlfriend crazy, but damn, I'm always thinking, oh man, we could totally sell this stuff. Like back up the truck. Like let's make money. So you should always be thinking about the money opportunity too. Because we're going to have to start working harder. Because these jobs are disappearing. Like somebody sitting at Uber, oh yeah, see you next Monday. No, you're not. Your position has been cut.
Now, is it the Uber drivers or is it the Uber admin?
The Uber admin, here's what they're doing. They are cutting their US staff, moving it overseas, and they're going to AI. And they're looking to go toward driverless cars. It's cheaper to buy a car and put a computer in it than to deal with a human being.
But see, that's an epic fail for me personally. I take Ubers every once in a while, like if I'm going to the airport or coming back. I ain't getting in no car that's not driven by somebody, okay? Because I know AI sometimes got a mind of its own. The last thing I'm gonna do is jump in an Uber that's driving by itself.
Well, we say that, but then we end up doing things that we say we would never do. It's just a gradual progression of things that happen, and before you know it, you're sitting in you get on an airplane. Most of the time, true, they got humans up there, but
I was just gonna say that because I don't think we realize and actually learned this from Donovan because he's a pilot, that a lot of the airplanes nowadays are driven by AI. They have a pilot, I guess, sitting in there in case something goes down. But oh my God, you guys remember the plane crashes that took place? I think it was 2019, 2018, somewhere around there, Indonesia, and another one I can't remember what it was. And it is said that the pilots cannot override the computer.
Oh, the Boeing 737.
Yes, the planes nosedived, if you will, and they could not override the computers. So the computer kind of took over and was like,
yeah, it's a wrap. So those things are happening. I called a company that I work with on a regular basis, and a lady from the Philippines answered the phone. Her name is Perdita. I remember. She's like, hi, this is Perdita. I was like, Perdita, what happened to Yvonne? She said, I don't know Yvonne. This company, and it's it's a huge multi-billion dollar company. When you called them last week, Yvonne answered the phone. When you call them today, Perdita in the Philippines is answering the phone. And I was like, whoa. And it just dawned on me like, Yvonne is out of a job. Oh, she's doing something else. So she's doing 20 things now instead of 17. You guys, think about this for a second. You buy food, right? Like there's this thing that I buy, and it's like $5 in the store. I went and bought it a couple of days ago for my kids' dinner. $8.99. From $5 to $8.99. And that's just one thing I bought in the store. So I started paying attention, and I noticed like the price of beef is going up, everything, vegetables. So what happens is things start going up gradually, and then before you know it, you're stuck. You're out of money. So it's inflation is gradual. Not only that, then you're paying a higher interest rate for things. So between that, like gas prices, I don't know how we made it. I don't know how people are doing it. I honestly don't. So, and even if you watch TV, you say, oh, inflation or the economy's doing okay. Baloney. That's coming from people sitting up in the ivory tower. They seem like it's doing okay. But I notice the average business owner, they are struggling. A bunch of car dealerships have closed down in Vegas and California. Or Nevada and California, they've shut down. So where are all these people going? And so ask yourself, how long do you have before the music stops in the musical chairs? It's a wrap. Now, if you have a master's degree in computer science, you will always have a job, like period. Man, there's so many things you could do with that. I told my son, we're going to get you in computer science and we're going to teach you finance. You can be a hedge fund manager or you can be a programmer and you can create software programming that you could sell for millions of dollars to a company. That's our path. Those people, the money people and the computer people, seem to figure it out, because if you understand how to move money, you'll be straight. So going back, build your credit at all costs. Stop everything. Build your credit. Even enough people say, oh, I'm going to get my credit fixed. No, you're not, because you're not fixing the behavior. And building credit, and I know we're arguing about this red line stuff. We have to get past that. And if it's true that they're still redlining, what can we do about it anyways? What do we do? Like, we have to cut.
That's, and not to cut you off. And yes, ACM just said many businesses are being purchased by other countries. That is very true. And I ask that question a lot when I hear about and see things that we talk about in our community. I always ask, well, what are we going to do about it? And what can we do about it in the state that we're in? What can we do about it? Because we know there is no black power without the dollar. We can say it as much as we want, but if we don't have anything backing up, black power, then what do we really have? Because I see a lot of boycotts, protests, and things like that. I'm like, what power do we actually have? Now we have some, as far as a voice, but in the long run, what power do we really have? We need to really start thinking about how we can move the ball, and that's really economically, right? And as we say in the nation, it's about doing for self. We got to do for self. It's a message as old as time, even really United States, Marcus Garvey, and even before that, they knew, our ancestors, that you have to do for self. And when they were doing for self before, you had these governmental programs and the New Deal and, all those things, black people were like, well, we got to figure it out. And they did. So here we are in 2022, still trying to figure it out. Like you said, yes, they're still redlining, but what actually are we going to be able to do about it?
And black people, we have, and I say we because we are one, have bought, and this goes for black people, we've mixed with so many races. So, I mean, you could be half white, black, but you get the point. We have bought into the narrative that we suck. And because we are black, we can't not do anything about it. I see black people, even when I'm out, I'm just like, do they know that they can do better? Like, you don't have to act a certain way. You can, like, one thing I always look at, I go, okay, I'm going out today. And I go, and excuse me for the term, I go, would Obama wear this? Would Obama act like this? And I know everybody don't like Obama, but I just picked it as, extraordinary figure as far as behavior, and said, how would he act if he was out? Would he be cussing and hollering? Would he be saving money? Would he be all hung low and just, oh, we black, so we screwed? And we're not screwed. Matter of fact, I'm telling you, man, there's nobody. Somebody asked me, would you come back as another race? Hell no. Even with all the struggles black people have gone through, I would come back as a black man in this country, even with all the shit we've gone through. I wouldn't trade for the world. But damn, why don't we take some of that power and say, you know what, we're going to stop hemming and hawing, swing low, sweet chariot, and all that stuff that was meant to be buried with our forefathers, and just say, you know what, I don't care what happens, I'm gonna move, I'm gonna stack some money. And cut out the distractions. Black people, we have so much shit on TV and the news. How do you keep track? Boy, yo, did you hear about? No, Negro Damas, I didn't hear about it. I'm trying to get money. I have 6 kids and grandkids and all kinds of shit that I need to make sure are straight. If something happens to me, I don't have to. I know what's going on in their life, but I can't tell you what happened to homeboy in Michigan. Every time I turn on my Amazon thing, I see this picture of Lizzo and the big girls Asian. I'm like, oh man, that's another distraction. Lord have mercy. Seriously. And on and being a black person in this country, we have way too many distractions. I tell you, I just wish, and sometimes you got to be a jerk about it. Just, I don't want to hear it, man. I'm not interested. I don't care. If it ain't about the money, I don't want to talk. If it ain't about my family, I don't want to talk. That's it. When you wake up, Grant Cardone has this good phrase. He goes, when I wake up, I say, where's the money? Where's my money? Where's my money? That's a good phrase. Where's my money? When you wake up and just go, okay, where's the money at today? And how much of it am I going to keep? That's it. Stack your money. Build your credit. Just do those two things. And I don't care where you put the money. I really don't care. Just put it somewhere. Man, you can put it in this cup. It don't matter. Put it in your cup. I ain't talking about the cup at the church. We all walk around 50 million times. You put all your money in. Not that cup. Put it in your cup. Ain't nothing wrong with putting money in the church's cup. But like, how many times are you going to do that? I'm tired of seeing in black people, I'm talking to you specifically, of seeing like us in the church and we just give you everything. Oh, Lord, oh, black people, we're so spooky and what's the word? My father calls it a spook in the sky or some stuff. Like, we're so superstitious, so spooky. Oh, like, I'm going to let the Lord fix. No, the Lord gave you life and the opportunity to use your brain. Put your money away. The pastors, and I see them rolling out Benzo, Ferrari. And if they got books and they're making money, cool. But a lot of, you know what I'm talking about. And the people are broke as hell. Put the money in your pocket. Those bonds, payroll, savings plans. Put the money wherever you can. Savings bonds, the 2-year treasury notes paying 4%. That is unprecedented. 4% on treasury. Think about this. Your money in the bank is paying you 0. Treasury bonds backed by the U.S. guaranteed are paying 4% right now. That has got huge moves. What's up, Jess? Huge moves. It is like Europe, the Bank of England this morning, they decided to buy bonds. It kind of drove the stock market. The point I'm making is if you pay attention to some of the stuff that's going on, start paying attention to that. Like, you know what's a good channel? It's like Bloomberg, right? I don't care what you say about Michael Bloomberg. Just move that to the side, right? Bloomberg television, they drop so much. And it's 24 hours, you guys. Bloomberg TV is 24 hours of financial knowledge and this, everything. I-bonds, inflation bonds are paying 9% right now. 9% for an I-bond, which is it's crazy. But you can put your money there. You understand what I'm saying? Notice we don't catch the Holy Ghost on the mic jobs. You ain't lying. Huh. Man, they'd be like, oh, get this out of here. Ain't nothing wrong being spiritual and religious. Just not to the point where you giving up your cat. Like, man, when my boys call me, oh, man, I put my rent money in the basket. I was like, you dumbass, what the hell is wrong with you? And then you calling me for cash? You need to go back and ask Jesus for your money back. Man, just do for self. Thou that gives a shirt off his back shall be naked. Period. There's no way in hell you should give somebody your stuff before you take care of you. And that goes for Calvin Klein. And that goes for everything else, Audi, Mercedes, Bentley, whatever it is, that goes for them too. You keep your money first at all costs. Just get in the habit. Every dollar you make, put 10 cents away. Just try it, just for a month. And if you say I can't afford it, that's a lie. Unless you're getting paid and every dollar is going for food and housing, and you really just ain't got it, then you need a roommate. There is a solution for everything. Everything there's a solution. Your house payment's too big, get some roommates or move. Period. I don't get wrapped up in digital currency. I have no idea. I know Jamie Dimon from Chase. I watched his good interview. It's a smart dude. Like, and he's well versed on like social economics and like minorities. Like, just watch his Stanford interview. Mind blowing. He talks about digital currency though. He says, you know why I don't like digital currency? Because one day the government they're gonna mess with it. They're gonna take it over. Elizabeth Warren and Lord have mercy. They're going to mess with it because there's too much in it for them in the greenback. Today, even if you CNBC, they're talking about regulating cryptocurrency, creating an exchange, a government exchange for it. They're going to figure out how to make money from it. So I don't mess with digital. I mean, cryptocurrency, Bitcoin was $69,000 last year, and today it's 19. Come on, man. I mean, say what you want about the dollar, but it don't do that. So, and I'm not.
I'll read it.
Huh?
I thought you were talking about this. So Brother Samuel said, here's a tweet I sent during Minister Ava's janaza. That's a homegoing service. Says that you both are touching on. What about God's time? How are we using the life that only God can give if you discover and use your gift properly? Well, the white man, shut up. The white man is not God. He's playing you. You can't come back to God with excuses. Absolutely. And I mean, we can, and I'm sorry y'all, if I'm freezing up, but I know that you guys can hear me, so sorry about that. But yeah, we got to stop making excuses and get after it, you know. And let me see if I can say this right. Mid Rash, I hope I said that right. Channel, how you doing? It says great info, except most of us don't know what an inflation bond is. Please explain.
Well, these bonds, they're tied to the rate of inflation. So you can Google it, invest in I-bonds. You know, they have the websites. So you can go to your banks, you know, your financial advisors. Their bonds are tied to the rate of inflation, which is currently at 9%. So, and they're short-term bonds too, like 6 to 12 months. You can put your money in. So if you have money sitting and you're not doing anything with it, you can put it there and get you 9%. I mean, everything adds up. So that's what an inflation bond is. And there's multiple bonds for you guys that like to keep cash sitting long term. That's one way to go about it. Bonds, I'm not a fan of, but bonds, it's, you know, bonds, if you're getting 4%, while you figure out what you want to do with the money, there's nothing wrong with that. So whatever it is, just put your money somewhere, you guys. And we're running out of time. We are really, the clock is ticking. Because not only are companies laying off like Target and Walmart, like Target. If you look at Target stock price, what up, girl? If you look at Target stock price, they are getting hammered. You don't have to do it right now, but when we get done, look at Target stock price. This is Target, for God's sake. Target, depending on where you live. Their stock price is getting hammered. They are struggling with inventory. And Christmas time is coming and the holidays, and they have so much excess inventory. You know what's going to happen? What they're afraid of is when the numbers report fourth quarter for Christmas and they come out dismal, they expect 2023 to just tank. So what are you going to do? What if you are stacking up money right now? Right? Hey, mama, you got a house that's paid off. Let's get ready. When things hit the fan, we can make some moves. Whatever it is, you should be talking to everybody in your circle. If you're not talking about money or your future, what are you talking about, man? Right? Right now, dollars equal to the euro, ratio is 1-to-1. I don't know about buying the euro because the euro is sliding. What I was saying was, you buy things with the dollar in Europe or in Asia, you get more. You understand what I'm saying? Like, for instance, when I go to Asia, or when I go, hold that thought. When I go to Mexico, I check the currency. So they'll go, do you want to pay in euro or peso or dollar? And I say euro or peso because our dollar is stronger, right? When you travel, you pull money out the ATM and let your bank do the conversion on their side, right? Like when you go to the airport, you don't exchange money, you do it, let your bank do it. You understand what I'm saying? So Shiba Inu, Lord, what happened to that? Whew, I sold mine at like 77 or 0.00077. Now it's at 0.00000 like 1 or something crazy. That's what I'm talking about. Cryptocurrency just flies up and boom, it's gone. And all those people that were like, oh, thank you, there you go. All those people that were like, oh my God, cryptocurrency is going to save the world, they're down 60, 70%, period. Now, Target's stock price, look at, like, if you go back and look at a chart of their stock price, go back to November of 2021 and look at their price. Like Target, the market was up today based on the um, Bank of England buying bonds, so that lifted because the Dow Jones Industrial Average was down this morning at like 4 o'clock when I was watching Bloomberg. It was down almost 300 points, and the Bank of England decided to buy bonds, and the market went up. So we got a little bump. But if you look at their price historically, it's almost down half. And you know what Target is doing right now? They're adding new divisions. When you walk into Target now, they're adding new things like food and different type. Target is getting ready to move. They're getting ready. They're using this downtime to add new things. You're going to walk in there and be able to order food, order a salad, or you might have cocktail hour. Target, man, that I'm not giving you a stock tip, but I'm saying if you, like me, that's one of the stocks that I'm looking into. You know what I'm saying? So you just, when things get better, you can just be in a position to ride it up. Bankruptcy. Lord, if you file bankruptcy, consider that a new start. But remember how you got there. And once you file bankruptcy, they wipe your slate clean. But what happens is if you get in trouble again, it's on you, because now you file bankruptcy, you don't have any protection, right? You have to wait so many years. So what I would do first is build my credit, because the fact that you have a bankruptcy on there, even as you build your credit, they will see that bankruptcy and know that, your creditors didn't get paid. So I would go down to the basics. Build your credit. Like, hey mom, how you doing? Or auntie, can you put me on one of your credit cards? Now you're not gonna get the card, but I'll put you on. And so what happens is you then inherit all of her credit from her credit report.
And I would say too, with doing that, as far as having somebody add you onto their credit card, like he said, they probably won't give you the card, but you get the benefits of their credit. Make sure that credit card has, some history behind it. Make sure it's not something they just opened, because that could actually tank your credit in some cases or bring it down a little bit more. Also, make sure that person is responsible. Make sure they ain't adding you on some credit that they ain't paying it on time and, all that other stuff. Make sure it's somebody who is very responsible with their credit. They have a great credit score, and then you will inherit, the benefits from that. So that's kind of what I've learned, because I actually have added some people onto my credit to help them boost up their credit. They don't got the card, though. Let me tell y'all. Let me see. I got all my stuff in my desk. I got the cards, okay? I got all the cards. So they ain't getting the cards, but they can get the credit. I don't really, use my credit much. Every once in a while, just to kind of make it look good. But yeah, that's a good idea. And Jessica, you said when it comes to money and real estate, Black people, please pay attention to your inherited property in the probate process.
Yeah, that's a moneymaker right there. If you want to, if you want to make money in real estate, find people that are inheriting property, that aren't paying attention, aren't responsible, and buy it from them. There's a whole market in buying probate properties, period. You hear gentrification. A lot of times, grandma left the house and nobody was ready. The problem is with these damn kids, you can't say shit to them. They got so much to say. Oh, I don't want to talk about that. Then all right, you ain't getting shit, period. Man, some of these kids, you need to slap the shit. I ain't talking about child abuse. I'm just talking about mentally, just like one good. And me, I know I have 6 kids, and lately I've been keeping it real. Like my son last night was like, dude, you don't have time to waste, and you're not being responsible. You need to pull the trigger. You need to act like the world is on fire. Period. You don't have time. I said you got a father in you. Like for you guys, you have kids, or if you kids who have parents that have your back, you have zero excuse. I told my kid, I got your back. I don't care how many times you try. I will be here. If you fail, I got your back. Take those shots. Don't be a punk bitch with the opportunities. Keep pulling the trigger. And if somebody's not around you, somebody's around you telling you not to pull the trigger, cut them loose. If you get 3 people in the room, there's a middle person, there's a bottom person, and there's a top person. In your groups, you need to be the bottom person. You know why? Because the bottom person is always learning. It's that, okay, assuming the bottom person is willing to learn. I have mentors, and I reach out to, hey, how's it going? And I know they limit their time with me. We kick it, but they know, I'm on the receiving end of knowledge and information. So you want to make sure you're around people. Like my sister will tell you, we would go to dinner and I'll just zone out. I remember we went to El Torito one time down at the Riverside Plaza. My mom, we were all sitting there and the conversation just turned to niggerdom or some shit. And I remember getting up, going to the bar and start doing some work. And I just remember going, what are these Negroes talking about? And what does it have to do with building wealth and protecting our family? And I'll do that. I'll zone out. My boys, they get to talking about, remember Lisa Ash back in the days? She was so fine. I said, man, Lisa got grandkids. Stop it. Stop talking about Lisa Ash. And Reggie gonna kill you anyway.
Yeah, because I'm friends with Reggie, okay?
But I'm like, man, let's keep the conversation positive. What can we be doing? Like I have one of my friends like, oh man, I'm not doing real estate right now. I'm like, next. And we don't need to communicate. We need to focus on our future. That's it. And if the people around you aren't willing to, oh, all right. I got a little bald up there, so I'm trying to keep my head up. No. If the people, you didn't wreck it, cool. So the people around you, if they're not doing, like I told my son, if the people around you aren't going in your direction, cut them loose. It's okay to cut them loose. You guys, it's do or die. Period. Man, have a couple drinks and then call them. It's easier to cut people loose after a couple drinks. Man, I've been thinking about you. Every time we talk, all we do is niggerdom. It's Negro Damas or nigger Bojangles. I can't fuck with you no more. Next, I'll see you when I see you. And you do that. Think about every person in your life and what they bring to the table. Period. Somebody, oh man, black people, we ain't got no. I'm like, next, nigger Bojangles, he's out too. I don't want to hear it. Because I'm a black man in this country who had next to nothing, who built from zero twice to get my black ass up. That means waking up a little bit earlier and staying up a little bit later. And just like find something you like that you want to do and just every day just work on it just a little bit. I have this dream board behind me, and I remember, and I'll leave her nameless, made a crack about, oh, you got this dream board. When are you going to reach those dreams? I was like, okay, we're going to have a problem here. One thing I noticed is that board, and I was talking to my son. He goes, Dad, so what have you done on this board? And I was like, oh, shit. Well, the Range Rover in the middle, that's parked outside. I said, I've been here. We're building and you guys, you could do this. I didn't realize you could. When I was in France and Spain, I noticed they had wine cellars. And I was like, there's a wine cellar on my dream board. And so on our property in the desert, we were digging a hole and building a wine cellar underground because wines stay a certain temperature, regardless of how hot it is. And I go, we're actually doing that. And I noticed some of the things on the board we were doing or accomplishing. The point I'm making is that board has been sitting there for 2 years. And every time I walk by, my brain goes, oh shit, got it. Okay, well, this is what we need to be doing today. Every time I walk past it. And so I have one of those here, right there. In my bedroom, I got 2 more I'm building. So instead of putting these beautiful pictures up, I got boards and maps and the stuff that I like to do. And this is what we should be doing, right? And yet you should, man, the shittier the property, the better for me. I want it broken down, blue house, Norman Bates just moved out type material. Those are the best deals. Man, when I bought this house in Dallas, man, I swear to God, on my kid's life, me and my son Miles walked in there with flashlights. And you know how you walk into a house and you say, is this something black people would never do? But here I was in the house in the dark. I'm coming around the corner. My son's behind me. He got the light on. And I'm like, I'm documenting my last moments and shit. But that was the shittiest house I've ever seen, just based on, some circumstances there. But we fixed it up, did some things to it, and boom. You know what I'm saying? And you guys, you only need one move to get ahead. Like my boys in music say, all you need is a hit. That's it. And then what do you say? Bury a Konex. Oh, for sure, my brother Damon. I appreciate that. Hold on. We'll take a picture of that because that's what I'm working on right now. It's crazy. The cool shit you can do when you just slow down. Like with me, and I tell people, find something you enjoy. Like for me, and I can't drink as much wine as I used to, but for me, it's wine. So we went to Spain and France, and we just shop for wine. And I was like, you know what? We can make money doing this. And I was like, if they got a wine cellar, why couldn't we have one? I mean, like, I watched a tractor on my property dig a hole because we're putting a lake, we're building our own lake. I'm like, oh, he just dig a hole for the cellar. Like, can you imagine that? Like having a wine cellar and like, just like some of you guys in some of these countrysides and some of these cheaper areas, you got an acre of property and it's just out there all alone. There's all kinds of shit you can do on it. I didn't realize you could dig. And I know I'm going off the cuff here, but I'm talking about doing things that will prepare you to build wealth. So when I talked about building this lake on our property, everyone laughed at me. But then the guy goes, you know what? If you put a lake on this property, which you can finance, by the way, this house will be booked every single night.
You know, it's funny that you're talking about that. I just looked over because I have this in my to-do book every day. I write down everything that I have to do, as you can see. And there's a quote on it every day. And this one says, be brave, take risks. Nothing can substitute experience. Paulo Coelho, which is one of my favorite authors. He is the author of The Alchemist. But I think that's just kind of funny that you were saying that. But I mean, if you don't try, how will you know? How will you know that you can do something? And just talking about the vision board, again, I don't go to church, but I do know the Bible to some degree. Habakkuk 2:2 says, write down a vision and make it plain, right? So with that, you have to have some sort of a vision board or something before you to remind you of why you are here and what you need to do to get there. And I've often heard people talk about vision boards and say, like somebody might ask them, well, have you accomplished any of those things? And then you go look and you're like, well, yeah, I have. I've accomplished most of these things because you may not focus on it every day, but you will see it is there before you. And subconsciously, and you guys may or may not have heard of The Secret. It's a book and it's a movie that I think you can see it on YouTube. The Secret is on Netflix. Big fan of The Secret. Just think about positive thinking and manifestation and things like that. Mm-hmm. But what you have before you, eventually you will work toward. And so we should all have some sort of a vision board or something somewhere. Trying to get back to where I was. So on my screensaver, there is, my picture. And I've told y'all about this before. I keep, pictures of myself, how I used to look on my watch. I have a picture of myself on one picture, how I used to look. And so I keep those visions before me and it remind me, okay, you might not want to eat that. You might want to get up today, go run and exercise, do something so that you can achieve those goals. And so we have to have some sort of a vision so where we can reach our goals, because I've often heard people say, I hate when people ask me, what do you see yourself doing in 5 years? Y'all want to be honest? I kind of hate that question too. But I think a lot of us hate it because then we have to really admit, well, I ain't thinking that far out. I haven't thought about it that far. I'm kind of just like living day to day type of thing. And if you are living day to day and that you're comfortable with doing that, nobody's going to take that away from you. But if you're trying to reach and do so much more, you're going to have to ask yourselves those questions. Maybe not 5 years. How about a year? How about 6 months? Where do I want to see myself in 6 months? Do you want to have a certain amount of money in the bank? Do you want to reach a certain weight goal? Do you want to start looking at buying a house? Like, what is it that you want to do? Because if you don't have anything to look forward to, then you won't look forward to anything. You'll just kind of go by day to day, wake up, go to work, come home, watch TV. But people who have goals, they'll say, I got to go to work and punch a clock from 9 to 5. But when I get home, I'm going to spend another 5 or 6 hours working on whatever it is I am put here on earth to do. As a Minister Honorable Louis Farrakhan said, what are you doing with God's time? And we all eventually going to have to answer for that. We're not put here to waste time. We are put here to do something. Some people are meant to be billionaires, millionaires. Some people are meant to help other people change the world, speak. Well, I don't know, whatever it is your goal is. But figure out what that is, write it down, and work toward that. Just work toward it. They don't have to be nothing big. Think of something. My mom, she used to give us advice as far as money. And I remember one thing that she says, if you have credit cards, start with the smallest credit card, pay it off, and then move up to the next one, the next one, and the next one, because the smallest ones are easier to pay off. And then once you pay those off, you'll feel like you've accomplished something. And so you feel like, okay, when I get to the next biggest debt that I have, I can do it because I just did it. And so I say that to say, when you have a goal and maybe you're not used to setting goals, think of something small. What is it that I can accomplish within the next couple of weeks? And work at that and say, okay, now what's another thing that I really want to do? I want to get another car. What do I need to do that? Do I need to
call Walter?
Call Walter. He sells cars. But do I need to go get another gig? Do I need to work a part-time job? Like, what do I need to do to better my situation? There's no way you can do better if you don't have those honest conversations. I talk about it all the time. Sometimes I get anxiety. Not lately, but sometimes when I look at my bank account, I'm like, oh, did I spend too much money this week or whatever? But I force myself to do that so I can say, or you did good last week. Or or keep it up. So you have to tell yourself sometimes the ugly truth so you can get to the beautiful truth. Stop living a lie so you can get to the truth. It's just that simple.
Yeah, and state your intentions publicly. That is when you read some of the self-help books. Because it's funny. So, and Damien, thanks for the tip. When I was one thing about it's putting your goals out there and stating them publicly is you open yourself up for advice. So when we're looking at building this underground cellar, I'm thinking, okay, we got to fortify it and we got to build cement underground. It's going to be this huge undertaking, building this so that it don't collapse. And I'm looking, so like Damien's like, oh, the Connex, and I'm looking, oh shit, why didn't I think of shipping containers? Do you know shipping containers for a 40-foot shipping container is $2,200? That's 20 by 40. That's 800 square feet. And so I'm thinking, damn, I need 2 of those. So just by stating my intentions publicly, I can now for $5,000 get 2 shipping containers and put them down there and build my wine cellar and put my little table down there so we can have smoked cigars and just it's a wrap. And so my expenses just went from $50,000 to probably close to 10. Just now from putting my shit out there. Now people gonna hate on you. F them. Man, I tell you, when you throw an idea, and a lot of us don't throw out ideas because we worry about the criticism. F them. I tell you, F you, I'm doing it anyways. Because some of the stupidest ideas have become the most successful ventures. I always go back to the pet rock. Period. The pet rock and the the Negro with an afro and the plant form, whatever, the chia pet. Somebody was smoking sitting at home with a weed like a blunt, like, you know what we should do? Man, we should get this, grow an afro out of trees. And boom, now they got a house in Newport Beach. Like those ideas. Okay, I heard Kanye West talk. And he just, every time I hear Kanye, he talks about big goals and dreams. And I was listening to him and somebody made it crack. Oh my God, he sounds crazy. He's talking about now, because he said he wanted to buy Universal. Remember that? Universal was worth $6 billion and everybody clowned. Now he's worth $4 billion. So he's striking distance of buying Universal. And then he said, oh, I'm going to be as big as Apple one day. And whoever I was with kind of snickered. And I was go like Steve Jobs, Apple was created by a man that said that. And that's the problem with people is they have so much negativity because when you say you're gonna do something, they're negative. Oh, they're restraints. They try and put that shit on you. Just no, back up off me. I'm doing it anyways. Even if you do something and you fail miserably, the fact that you've done it just takes a huge weight off your shoulders. Verbal Herb, I started in 2010, 2009. Verbal Herb. I had too much to drink. I was in my office, what I used to do, sit in my office and drink until the moon come up. That was a long time ago. And Verbal Herb came to me. That was a decade ago. And I just launched it a few months ago. Just worried about what people saying, can I do it? And we launched it. And it's not booming yet, but I noticed that it's, we're making sales. And that's just one thing that regret that I don't have to have, if that makes sense.
Yes, it makes sense. Walter, can you take this for a second? I gotta help somebody really quick. Emergency. So continue. I read the questions, if you will. There's a question right there. Did you answer about the medical field?
No, I'll do that right now.
Okay.
Medical field. Do you mean like well, I don't know if you're talking about investing in the medical field. I mean, if you can go down to the comments and kind of put them down there. Like the medical field, as far as investing in it, is huge. There's money like today. Biogen, their stock jumped 50% based on their Alzheimer's clinical trial, which is showing to slow the process of Alzheimer's. The cool thing about the medical field is people are getting older, number one. Two, people are getting fatter, they're getting sicker, especially in this country. So the medical field is going to always, in my opinion, always going to be there. Oh, you're talking about nursing, nuclear medicine, sonography. These pay well, and unfortunately, people are going to need those. They're going to, like, you can just go outside and you just see people out there struggling. I was on an airplane on the way, oh my God, we're on the way to Spain, and this lady was just, I think she needed 2 seats. She was huge. And I was like, she going to need medical attention. And you see the population getting that way. So the medical field, there's money in it. I mean, if you work in the medical field, it's like nurses have easy time getting work. Physical therapists, there's money in that. There's always going to be, in my opinion, people that don't take care of themselves. So that would be good. And then investing in the medical field. I have some of my friends that have invested in some of these homes, like these nursing homes, they'll invest in. Those seem to be a good idea. Or the group homes, people that have maybe mental challenges or something in the past. That I think is good. I think at the end of the day, medicine, what's really big right now is mental health. It's huge. You have a lot of people that are now all of a sudden saying, I'm not physically in pain, but mentally I'm in pain. And so I think there's going to be a huge movement in the as far as mental toughness is a huge field in the future, I think. So your emergency, are they cool?
Yeah, as my daughter talking about, my tire's gonna explode, and so we unfortunately have towing service and all of that.
It's called AAA.
Yeah.
Y'all got that in Texas, right?
Well, we actually have TBC, and I've had it for years.
Oh, you still using that?
I've had it for years. Travel Club of America or something like that.
I forgot about that. Huh.
Yeah. I mean, it's good to have in case, you have an emergency, you need your car towed or tire change, battery, whatever it is. And so,
yeah. Get AAA or TVC or something. Man, there's nothing like somebody saying, oh, I broke down. What do I do? Call your AAA, fool. That's what I would do. Hey, man, can I use your AAA? No. AAA is like $40 to $100 a year. They'll pick you up 4 times a year, bring gas, tow you, whatever. For $40 to $100 or 45, whatever it is, 50, it's a no-brainer. So even little things like that, just protecting yourself, is huge. Like something like that will save you a ton of money. go for quality because the cheapest prices. Huh. Here's the spin on that. And I know we're talking about being frugal, but I'm gonna switch the other way. I used to buy these shoes from the mall, 60, $80. And my buddy would be like, how many times do you buy shoes? I said a few times a year. And he has a pair of Ferragamos. He goes, you know how many times I bought these? How many times I replaced these? Never. I've had these shoes for 10 years. And so I ran the math. I found a pair of Ferragamo shoes at a Nordstrom's rack or Saks Fifth Avenue off Saks Fifth. It's like one of the discount luxury stores. And I paid $300 for these pair of Ferragamo shoes. That was 5 years ago. And I found a pair of Prada shoes, which is I don't normally do this. They were almost $600. Do you know this was 5 years ago? I have not bought a pair of shoes, dress shoes. I still have my Ferragamos and my Prada shoes hanging up in one of my closet. So those shoes together, I think I spent $900 on those two pair of shoes. But when you look at $80 times 4, it's $300 a year times 5 years. It's almost $1,600 that I was spending on shoes. But I've only spent $900, and they're nice shoes. And so stuff like that, like I heard Kevin O'Leary from Shark Tank say that his mom bought a Chanel jacket. It was like $5,000, but she's had that jacket for decades, and she doesn't need to buy another jacket. So it does make sense to have nice stuff if you're going to keep it long term, right? If I'm going to spend, I don't really like to spend money on like lavish stuff. It took me forever to buy a Louis belt. I still don't have my Louis bag. I've been talking about it for a year. I keep getting these real messages. But when I went to Bordeaux, France, I did break down and buy some Louis stuff. And I know I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna keep this forever. So you can do things like that. The cost of keeping them long term will be cheaper than buying cheap stuff. So, and I just think if you treat yourself well, you'll do better. You'll act better, in my opinion. And no, I don't. Yes, well, you can have the Ferragamos. I've had refurbished twice, and the Prada shoes I've had refurbished once, and they last forever. The guy's like, "Oh yeah, I'll fix it. Come back after lunch." They look brand new. I'm like, "Whoa." So, and then you walk off the house feeling like, "Yo, man," I'm like, "Okay, I'm on this." You know what I'm saying? And then that stuff leads to other stuff. Like something I do want to, I can't believe I'm going to do this, but I'm going to do it. I was just thinking in my mind from Puffy, you can hate me now. Like, one thing that really makes me feel good about myself is getting my weight under control. Jesus Christ. I tell you, Black people, especially, I'm talking to you. There's like, just even losing 5 pounds. I remember I was doing the jig in the bathroom. Hallelujah, Jesus, Allah, whatever. I was doing the jig. I was so happy. And then it got to 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. And I was like, man, the way that I feel right now is incredible. The point I'm making is you could just work on that. Being lighter gives you more energy. And I know weight is, I've never struggled with weight, but I was carrying an extra 30 pounds that I shouldn't have had. And I've had it for years. But getting rid of it, I just noticed my energy went up. I felt better. I can buy certain clothes. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to shop at Lizzo.com or whatever. People say it's okay.
Leave Lizzo alone.
You know what I'm saying? I'm just like, man, I tell you, this is not my subject. I get in a lot of trouble talking about weight because I was overweight. So I know the way I felt. Like I remember going down to tie my shoes and I was like, oh, hell no. My stomach is in the way of me tying my shoe. I was like, hey, man, can you tie my shoe? Never again. Right? And that, I just even like put the money to the side. If you take better care of your health, if you smoke and drink, that's fine. That's you. But I'm talking about just like your food intake. Like Kanye made a good statement. He talked about curing cancer. And I know he's like, well, I can't really say that because they're going to come get me. But what you put in your mouth. It's like when I was in Spain and France, I noticed like their foods are fresher. They don't have grocery stores everywhere. I didn't see one grocery store in Spain or France. I was there 2 weeks. I didn't see one grocery store. One. All I saw is these little markets where they get their food every day, they bring it out, and they live like that, and they're healthier. We could do that. We could live like that. Like you turn something over, if you don't understand what all that shit means, you probably shouldn't eat it. Period. If it's got this and phosphates and this, that's probably phosphate probably didn't grow in the tomato. So cut some of those things out. And when you eat preservatives, it blocks the production of nutrients. It kills your body. So Black people, especially I'm talking to us, if we could focus, and I know this is a tough subject, and women, men too, because men, we all struggle with it. If we could just work on that, 5 pounds, you give yourself a goal, put it on your dream board, skinny, 5 pounds less, and start with there, and don't let nobody get in your way. And when somebody says, "Oh, you can eat it in moderation," tell them to kiss my ass. If you couldn't, oh my, like I don't know how you drink whole milk or eat creams. I don't get it. Like blue ranch, like ranch dressing. I can't collectively get my thoughts together to see why somebody would do that to their body. But if you decide to cut blue cheese, somebody says moderation, say no, that's not because you can smoke crack or take fentanyl in moderation. You understand what I'm saying? So, and there are easy things too. And as you start to grab control of your health, you'll have more energy to go get the money. Hail to the no! I flew Spirit one time. Oh man, my back was hurt, my neck, my back, man. I looked, so the person in front of me, right? The Spirit seat, I was like, somebody just literally just wrapped a piece of cloth around this metal. The seat is like this thin. The whole time my seat was rocking. My flight was like $40. But man, I needed a chiropractor, $200 with that dude. I mean, I fly Spirit. I would fly it again, but it'd have to be like my sister, she loves Spirit. I can't do it. They don't have no drinks, no food, no TV.
Hey, listen, I'm gonna tell y'all. I'm gonna tell y'all my philosophy on Spirit. It is cheap. I went to California a couple of weeks ago for $89 round trip. I ain't trying to go on the plane for bells and whistles. I'ma sit there. I don't need to eat. It's only a 3-hour flight. I have a book. I might have downloaded something to my phone. I'ma sit there. Yeah, it might be some drama unfolding while I'm on the plane, but that ain't got nothing to do with me. I'm just trying to get there safely. And I think, well, these airline attendants wouldn't be on this plane if it wasn't safe. And so that's why I get comfort. Once we get up in the air and we stabilize, I'm good. But I listen, I ain't bougie enough to be like, I ain't gonna fly Spirit. Is it ghetto? Yes. Is it cheap? Yes. Yes. Will I fly it again? Hell yes.
I don't know why Spirit is ghetto. I don't understand why I know why it's ghetto, but I don't understand why it has to be that way. It's sad because my Spirit flight was full of nigga bojangles. And I'm just like, man, we got to do better, people. Soul Plane was done after Spirit Airlines. Man, as soon as I got on the plane, I was like, oh, it's about to go down. I don't know. But no, I wouldn't do it again unless it was cheap. I like a seat. I like a real seat. But damn, that was crazy. Ooh, Spirit, man. It took me back to my broke days. I like sitting on the boat. We're going to get there. Master, we home yet? Are we there?
I've never had a bad experience with Spirit. I never have. Because I know they charge you $99,000 to take an extra bag on there.
Yeah.
I've never paid for a bag, and sometimes I've taken two. I'm like, hey, how y'all doing? Everything good? Oh, yeah, it's good. And then I watch you see myself through there, and I take my bags, and I put them up, and I put them, keep pushing or whatever. But I've never had a bad experience with Spirit. I mean, knock on wood, I never have, but I'm a member of Spirit. Proudly.
I mean, you can fly Spirit. I was just being funny, but it was a real bad experience for me. I wasn't paying.
And to Sweetie Band's Point, he say, I am frugal, but I won't fly with him either. I am tall and my legs literally were right on the seats. That was a long flight to my destination. So yes, I would say if you're super tall, Spirit probably ain't gonna be for you because the seats are like right there on you. So you don't have a lot of room to, do what you need to do. But I'm 5'3", so I could sit back and put my feet, whatever, like that. But usually I'm reading unless I fall asleep or something. But I don't have a problem with Spirit. It's cheap.
I mean, fly them when you have to. I mean, if I was financially, if that was an issue, I would fly Spirit. I mean, it's like driving a Datsun B210. You do what you got to do until you get your shit together. It is tempting. I'm going back to Texas next week, and I'm like, man, should I fly Spirit? Maybe I'll just, I don't know, take a pillow and a butt cushion and, I don't know, buy the seat. The cool thing about Spirit is it's so cheap. You can buy the whole row for the price of a United ticket and lay down. So maybe I'll do that. Because I hate having somebody next to me. But yeah, anyways, Spirit's cool. I'm going to leave them alone.
And if you're lucky, they might ask if anybody wants to sit in the exit row where, you can help rescue the plane. But
yeah. They'd be like, will you assist? Yes, I'll assist in getting my black ass off first.
Yeah, you might get in trouble for that one. But you can let, you have more room. You can crisscross your legs and, maybe do some snow angels or whatever in the row. But yeah, no, seriously. I mean, I think you should pay for what you feel like you deserve. I know I deserve, first class, but I always feel like the plane is going to get there at the same time if I'm in first class or not. I would not fly Spirit to go far. Like, I don't know how far they actually go. The farthest I think I've gone is to like the DR. I think that's the farthest. It was like a 5-hour flight, whatever. But yeah, I think you should pay for what you can afford and what you feel like, you deserve. But, other airlines, they're pretty expensive. So I like to save money. I don't have a problem with Spirit. But anyway, let's see here. And Thunder, you say, oh, yes, the broke days, cold church's chicken, and the warm beer for breakfast in the morning. Memories, good times. Yes, good times. Those are humbling times, too. I always tell the story about when we were coming up. There was a time when we didn't have a lot of money. And I said, I will never eat Spam. I will never eat Spam, and I will never eat Arby's. Those are just two things I won't eat because they remind me of bad times, So there's things I won't do. And Sudi Bandy says it's definitely worth the price, though, but they pack you in like sardines. Yes, they do. You are close. I always wear my mask on the plane, even though they say you don't have to, but I still do because, it's like before we weren't wearing the mask. Think about people sneezing on the plane and coughing and all that. I'm like, thank God I got my mask on. A lot of people don't sneeze with their mouth closed. And so, yeah, I'll be wearing my mask on the plane still. And you say, do they sell 40s in their family? Do they sell 40s in their family?
Well, they sell 40s on the plane. They probably could.
I don't know about that. No, they shouldn't. No, they shouldn't be selling.
I don't think Spirit sells alcohol. They shouldn't.
No, they do. You got to pay. You got to pay for everything with Spirit. Water, chips, whatever. You got to pay for it.
Yeah. Speaking of travel and shitty airlines, but you should really get out and about. I'll tell you guys, like the plane ticket to France and Spain, which included Paris, Bordeaux, San Sebastian, Bilbao, and Madrid, was $1,000 a person round trip, and most of the hotels included. In Spain, a beer is $2. A glass of wine is $2. They have this tapa thing that is, man, like I remember the two of us ate for $10. We each had a drink and had tapa. I was like, how is this possible? And I was like, man, if just going out and seeing other parts of the world, it makes you really appreciate what we have here. I mean, it's beautiful there, but just like they don't really have all the rights we have. The U.S., every time, even though I hate coming back here, I understand the opportunity we have. Because I can leave and come back 2 weeks and everything's still the same. The city ain't on fire. You know what I'm saying? We were over there, people protesting. You see it too. And you could feel it. You can feel it building up. Like right now in France, they're striking. Their train or their bus or something like that. They're going on strike right now, and they do it for reals. So the point I'm making is when you travel, you see different things, and it makes you want more too. Like you can buy a house, a villa in France for 300-400 grand with like 5, 6, 7 bedrooms. Like it's mind blowing the things you can do when you get out. I'm sure it's like that in Africa and other places too. You went to South Africa. I'm sure it was cheap and you're right next to the water. So get your passport, go do cool stuff, and then it will also make you want to be more save money so you can do more stuff. And do it right now. Because this time, man, I'm telling you, like midterms are coming up. Man, they about to pull out all the stops. And they're not thinking about, I feel like Kanye West, they're not thinking about black people. Because we're not thinking about us. Black people, every one of us started putting money away. Just 5-10% of our income. Do you know in 1 year how much power we would have? They would have to reckon with us. But until we do, they'll just keep throwing distractions at us. Oh, this is going on, this is going on. And we'll just keep black people, we have so many distractions. But in my opinion, there should be one thing and one thing only that we focus on first, and that's the money. Period. I don't want to hear shit about family and friends because most of y'all don't care about your family enough to even save them, protect them financially anyways. You protect your family with the money. Like I told my son, Evan, I was like, dude, let me tell you, do not waste your opportunity. I break my neck to save money so you can jump off. You get on my shoulders and you take it to the next level. Do not waste this opportunity. I'm breaking my neck so you could get the parties, so you could keep moving. And we need to get in our kids' face and tell them, yo, party's over. Nigga Bojangles, we are done. Stop. Like, I don't want to talk about that. We talking about it. We need to grab control. I'm all like strangling them. We need to grab control of these kids because they are going to be our future. They are going to be our future. So I'm teaching them everything. Period. I don't care from credit strategies to this. Like my son, Evan, he drives my S5. And I'm like, dude, here's how I got it. I built my credit. Like, because you own my credit cards, you own all of our credit cards, so you got a great credit score. So I went to Navy Federal. I paid $9 for the car. They gave me $20. I got 11 grand to flip. Matter of fact, never mind. They gave me the 20 before I bought the car. And Navy Federal is in Texas, all over the place. Houston, they're everywhere. Build your credit. You open an account, which means you have to know somebody who can send you their code. I'll send you mine for a small fee, right? Actually, for a medium-sized fee. Open a bank account with them, and you open a credit card with them. And you take care of that credit card. And when it comes time to buy a car, like one of my friends is like, oh, Walter, I need a car. Can you help me? I want to go to a dealer. What do I do? I said, don't go to the dealer. I said, do you have good credit? She says, yes. I said, I will go out and get you a car. And won't have your credit union cut you a check. And we'll take the difference and flip it. That's it. There you go. Show you the money. Income property. Oh, man, that's where I'm at right now. That is the move. Some of you guys, like, put all your real estate in your primary all your real estate money in your primary residence. That is insanity, knowing what we know now. Because like home equity, I got $200,000 in my house, but you can't get to it. You can't touch it, and you won't sell it. Like one of my friends today was like, oh, we have $700,000 in my house, but my wife won't let me sell the house. I said, you got 700 grand in your house and you need the money and she won't let you sell it? I ain't gonna comment on it, but I don't know. It'd be a house. It'd be a crazy household that night. The cool thing with investment property is you're not emotionally attached to it because you don't really live in it. So I know in Texas you can buy for 400 grand. You can buy 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 doors, 20 doors, depending on how ratchet the property is. 20 for 400 grand, and it's easier to buy an investment property than to buy a house. So I see a building in Texas, in Houston. It's 400 grand. It's got 20 doors, let's say. They want $20,000 a door. the property is toe up, like toe up. So the bank, and there's people living in it, and I don't like the blue house, so I don't know how people live in it, but they do. And we have to understand that some people are okay with those shady conditions. The bank says, oh, it's making $6,000 a month. We will give you 75% of that $6,000 as qualifying income to buy this property. So now you can buy that property with the income that it's producing. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So you buy that property, and then it's yours. And then you can fix it up and improve on it. And the cool thing about real estate, they have gross rental multiplier, they have cap rate. So let's say your cap rate is 10%, which is good in real estate. You got a 10% cap rate, which is your net income. You basically take your net income and then you divide it by the price of the property. There's your cap rate. If you have a cap rate of 10, so let's say, for instance, I buy a property for $400,000, and let's just say it's paying, $3,000 a month, $40,000 a year. If I fix it up and I raise the rents to $100,000 a year, it is no longer worth $400,000. It is now worth $1 million. So that's how a lot of people in real estate build wealth. Is they'll buy some shitty property, fix it up, rent it out, and then they take the rent and they multiply it. Okay, so it's getting 100 grand times 10. It's worth $1 million. And that's how you go from 400 to $1 million. It's not complicated. It's actually, as I sit here and talk about it, I'm pissed at myself for taking so long to even do that. But you have to start out small. And that's how you build wealth. And yeah, I'm raising the rent. Sorry. I know people say, how can you raise the rent on those people? If you're in a house and you're paying $400 a month rent and you don't think your rent is going to ever go up, that's your fault. And if you're paying $400 in rent, can I ask you, what are you doing with the rest of your money? Like, seriously. You get a Mercedes parked outside and you're paying $400 in rent, that's your fault. Rents are going up. Matter of fact, this whole class of strategies on how to raise the rent. It is what it is. That's the way it's going to be. And so, like Bugs Bunny said, if you can't beat them, join them. I'm raising the rent. I think Lil Wayne said that too.
Absolutely. So anyway, y'all, it has been a pleasure. We're going to get out of here. Love and appreciate y'all for being here. We will be back. We being Donovan and I on Sunday. I might come back live tomorrow by myself. Not for sure. I'm planning on it just to have kind of like a one-on-one with you guys because I don't do that often. So I'm going to try to start doing that. But in the meantime, y'all stay blessed. If you guys would like to donate to the channel, there's ways to do so at the bottom. Cash App, Venmo, PayPal. Thank you all to those of y'all who do donate, channel members especially. Thank you so much. And those of you guys who are new here, if you haven't already, please subscribe, like the video at the very least. And we will see you all for sure on Sunday live, Donovan and I. But I will try to come and see y'all tomorrow evening at about 5 o'clock Central Time. So you guys be blessed and have a great evening. Peace.